the message. To the church that helped raise me. The church that taught me how much God loves me. The church that reminds me that God is with us, even when darkness is all around. Will you please join me in prayer? Oh, loving God, you are here with us. Lord, when darkness is all around, let us remember who you are, who you have called us to be, and that when we are afraid, when we are unsure, we can turn to you, knowing that you love us. In your name, amen. And our scripture comes from the book of Amos, in the 7th chapter, verses 7 through 17. Then God showed me another vision. I saw the Lord standing beside a wall that had been built using a plumb line. He was using a plumb line to see if it was still straight. And the Lord said to me, Amos, what do you see? I answered, a plumb line. And the Lord replied, I will test my people with this plumb line. I will no longer ignore all of their sins. The pagan shrines of your ancestors will be ruined, and the temples of Israel will be destroyed. I will bring the dynasty of King Jeroboam to a sudden end. Then Amaziah, the priest of Bethel, sent a message to Jeroboam, the king of Israel. Amos is hatching a plot against you, right here on your very doorstep. What he is saying is intolerable. He is saying Jeroboam will soon be killed, and the people of Israel will be sent away into exile. Then Amaziah sent orders to Amos. Get out of here, you prophet. Go on back to the land of Judah and earn your living by prophesying there. Don't bother with us with your prophecies here in Bethel. This is the king's sanctuary and the national place of worship. But Amos replied, I am not a professional prophet, and I was never trained to be one. I'm just a shepherd, and I take care of the sycamore fig trees. But the Lord called me away from my flock and told me, go and prophesy to my people in Israel. Now then, listen to this message from the Lord. You say, don't prophesy against Israel. Stop preaching against my people. But this is what the Lord says. Your wife will become a prostitute in the city, and your sons and daughters will be killed. Your land will be divided up, and you yourself will die in a foreign land. And the people of Israel will certainly become captive in exile, far from their homeland. And this is the word that is brought to you today. Now, before we begin talking about Amos, a little background. I'd like to help so we can maybe understand the scripture just a little better. Around 1000 BC, we have a united kingdom. A united kingdom with King David. And after King David had passed, his son Solomon ruled. But after Solomon passed, the kingdom had split into two. It was no longer united. We began to have a northern kingdom and a southern kingdom. This was around 930 BC. Our last sermon series, we talked about Elijah and Elisha. And they were around 910 BC. So about 20 years after the split. And today we come from the prophet Amos, who's around 796 BCE. So a little later than our previous series. But we are further from the time of the United Kingdom. And Amos said he was a shepherd, not a prophet. When we hear the word prophet, many times we think of a person who can see the future, who knows what is going to happen next. But yet a prophet is someone who tells the truth, the hard truth. The truth that can make people squirm because they don't like what is being said. Many times it's when the people are heard that they are far from God. It can be hard to hear, but it needs to be said. And Amos was not a scholar. He wasn't someone who lived in the palace. He wasn't raised in the culture that kings lived. He lived as a shepherd. But yet he lived in a time where there was great wealth and prosperity in the nation, where life seemed to be going great. But yet we see the people, as their riches increase, their idea of righteousness and justice decreases. They care more about money and earthly possessions. The rich feel they can do what they want and nothing bad can happen. I know none of us can understand what that looks like. The sense of nothing that can go wrong when everything seems to be going right. But Amos took care of sheep. He was a protector. He took care of those that could not help themselves. And so often when we read scripture, especially the Old Testament, we can come across words and verses that may seem confusing. The beginning of this book, in the first 2 chapters, we hear, for 3 transgressions of Israel, and for 4, I will not provoke the punishment. Many times we can scratch our heads saying, I don't understand. However, 3 was meant to signify completeness. 4 is just going overboard. The people had won the sin jackpot. They went above and beyond what God called them to do. And so when God shows them the plumb line, he is telling them that they have not measured up. The wall is crooked. Just like in the children's moment when we first saw the line drawn, it appeared straight. But yet when it was measured, it did not measure up. At the beginning of the 7th chapter, there are 2 other visions, but God says that it will pass. However, beginning in verse 7, it will no longer pass. God is tired of the people not responding to God's call to change. But God often calls out prophets and leaders that come from places least expected. The mighty King David with the united monarchy started off as the youngest son, a shepherd. One that was not expected to become a leader. And God also called Amos, the shepherd who did not care about money and wealth or what people thought of him. He just knew that he was called by God. God knew that Amos would stay strong and remain on the course, even when others were saying lies about him. And during Amos's life, he spoke out against injustices. And well, what happened with these? It might not have been a whole lot of change. This was not a Jonah going to Nineveh and the whole nation realized of their wrongdoing. Even though hearts might not have been changed immediately, this did not deter Amos. What do we do in our life when we feel that we are on the right course? When we are moving, but feel like we are going nowhere? Many times it may feel like we are on the treadmill. We're continually walking but not getting anywhere. Do we give up? Do we change the course? We may not immediately see the fruit of our labor, but we should be faithless regardless. When we respond to God's call, we go knowing that we are following God, not to gain fame or wealth or power. God's purpose will be accomplished when we follow the call, whether or not we fully see it. Now, this plumb line is not measuring a wall. It's measuring the people. And they're not measuring up. At one point, the people followed God. They obeyed the laws. But slowly they began to turn away. They began to turn to other gods, began to turn inwards, and desired what they wanted. But God is still desiring to call them my people. God still desires to be in relationship with them. And so the plumb line is not a term I use in my everyday vocabulary. But when I began to think of measuring, I began to think of a measuring tape, or perhaps a scale in our bathroom. And when we measure something or get on that scale, we see a number. We see something specific. There is no arguing that number, whether or not we like it. We may get numbers from a doctor's appointment. Cholesterol is too high, blood pressure. We may look at our bank statement and not like that number we see. But what do we do when the facts are presented to us? Do we continue with our heads in the sand, pretending all is fine, allowing the problem to worsen? Or do we begin to make a change? Now, if we choose to make a change, it will not be easy. Oftentimes we feel like nothing may change. Nothing is happening. But yet, when we know we are making a change, we know we are slowly but surely turning back to God. A few chapters earlier, chapter 5, Amos is telling what God has said. Where God said, I hate all of your show and pretense, your hypocrisy of your religious festivals and solemn assemblies. I will not accept your burnt offerings and your grain offerings. I won't even notice all of your choice peace offerings. Away with your noisy hymns of praise. I will not listen to the music of your harps. Instead, I want to see a mighty flood of justice, an endless river of righteous living. Now, God is not saying he doesn't want to hear us sing or come to worship. But God is saying if we are only doing that, if we are only singing, only coming to worship on Sunday and not acting, God doesn't want it. God wants more than just us coming to church on a Sunday. If we do nothing but thank God, if we do not help those around us, we do not listen to the cry of the needy, then what are we really doing? Justice wasn't occurring during Amos's time. God used Amos for the people to hear, hopefully to get the message across. If our words, our hearts, and our actions don't measure, God is trying to talk to us, trying to say, you may have beautiful temples, beautiful music, but it means nothing. I desire to be in relationship with you. I desire for you to turn outward and not inward. Now, Amos was not the only character in this verse, in these verses. We have Amaziah the priest. And he goes and tells the king, guess what I heard? Guess what Amos said? Now, what he told the king had some truth, but it was a twisted form of the truth. He did not say what Amos had meant. Amaziah had said, Jeroboam will die by the sword, and Israel will certainly go into exile. He was saying, the king, he's telling he's going to kill you, you will die. But Amos says, I did not come for power or fame. I came to speak the truth. He said, I did not say that Jeroboam will die by the sword, but that his dynasty, that this rule will come to an end because they have turned away from God. Amaziah did what happens when we hear a little bit of gossip, a little bit of the story, and you can't help but share it. Guess what I heard? Did you hear what happened? And I'm sure Amaziah would just say, I'm trying to help the king. But instead his heart was not truly in it. He's trying to spread it Amos's words to make God's words not count. Amos, however, stands strong. He reminds them that he is just a shepherd. He is not a professional priest or a prophet or someone who just likes the sound of his own voice. He was called by God. to tell Israel that is not living up and that they can't measure. It's hard to tell the truth when the truth becomes twisted. What happens when your authority is questioned? Amos could have turned back away and said, my words have been wrong, but yet he chose to stand strong. He chose to tell the truth even when others around him doubted. He didn't let anyone stop him doing what God called him to do. So now, as we are in 2019, what do these words mean for us today? Do we just listen to these as a nice Bible story and turn away? Amos was living in a time of prosperity, where things on the surface began to go well. However, underneath the surface, people's hearts were hardened. They were not truly worshiping and honoring God. They did not have a relationship with God. Many of us can feel like that is the time today, when the voices of justice need to cry out just a little louder. Many feel that we have lost our connection with God, but yet we continue to claim and follow God. And as we pray to God, as we sing these beautiful songs we heard this morning, do we ask ourselves, or do we truly believe them? Do we believe that death has been overcome? Do we believe that darkness won't prevail? That joy will come? Do we truly believe that Jesus is a beautiful name? Or when we leave here, do we forget these words? I hope we continue singing these songs with a sense that we are truly in connection with God. I challenge each of us to read the book of Amos. You may need to look at the front because it's a small little book that can get overlooked. But it's a book challenging us to look at ourselves, to look at our nation, and to ask ourselves, are we measuring up? If God was to measure us today, how would we measure? Would we appear to be straight yet off? Would we be completely off? Or are we in line with God? Will you join me in prayer? Oh, holy God, you desire to be in relationship with us. You desire to see peace and justice on this earth. Or do you desire to know us? Lord, we know that there are times we have not measured up. We have turned away from you. Lord, we ask that you remind us how much you love us, how you have always been there for us, even when darkness is around. Thank you, Lord, for giving us this text to show us who you are and who you want us to be. In your name, amen.
Thank you, Samantha. It's a journey for all of us to be reminded of, and to be reminded that we together form the body of Christ, that the world is watching us. I am so honored as we